Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another episode of The Small Business Show right here at ASBN.com. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs in business come from taking bold, intentional action. When most people struggle to land their first client, the entrepreneurs find a way to create momentum and set off a chain reaction of success. That's exactly what today's guest teaches, helping business owners turn their first sale into a powerful domino that sparks growth. Today we are joined by Tim Castle, host of the wildly popular Tim Castle Show podcast and author of The First Domino, How to Land Your First Client in 90 Days or Under. Tim, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
No, thank you, Jim. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Sure. In your book, you emphasize that success isn't random, but engineered. Could you elaborate on how entrepreneurs can intentionally create their own momentum?
Momentum is key, right? It's much like when a stock has momentum, you want to invest in it at that point. It's the same thing in sales. You want to get a number of opportunities up in the air and improve that flywheel because it attracts more goods. So the first step in the book is reduce the friction. Now, we want to make it easy for them to say yes to the first meeting. And to do that, we've got to learn how to prospect. Mm-hmm. Now, I know people hate having to prospect. Like, I know that. I talk to people and coach them all the time on this part of business development. I happen to love it. It's my forte. I love it. I love the challenge. And so, right, okay, you've got an audience that hates to do this thing, yet this thing, once you master it, becomes the perfect cold email that cuts through the noise. And we know what it's like with AI right now. I'm sure you're getting these LinkedIn messages all the time. They're templated. Yep. They have no humanness in them. Right. There's no connection. And you can see that they put zero effort into it and they don't care. And so I'm going to teach you how to cut the jargon, talk like yourself, but also cut through that noise. Mm-hmm. Then how to structure that first meeting, because a lot of mistakes happen in that first meeting. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs and business owners, they think that they've got to sell the world in that one opportunity. Right. And in doing that, that's a huge mistake. And so I'm going to teach you how to walk into that meeting with confidence, conviction, and to really understand who you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. Then it's about doing impossible things. And I'm going to teach you how to basically ask for things you don't think you can get. And so each chapter in the book has a domino challenge to push you outside of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. One of the strategies which I like to leverage, which was from my award-winning book, The Momentum Sales Model, which won the silver medal this year at the Axiom Business Book Awards, is the 9 before 9 a.m. strategy. Mm-hmm. So what you do there is you make a commitment to reach out to 9 qualified leads before 9 a.m. every day. And I mean, that can be a coffee, it can be a video call, it can be a WhatsApp message, it can be any form of connection and interaction. And in doing that, you start to create momentum because you've got 45 highly qualified leads that you've touched base with and you follow up every 3 days. Yeah. And you start this huge momentum.
That's great. 9 before 9. I love it. And you're right. You start to build that momentum and you realize how easy that process is over time, right? And there's really nothing to fear. I think you'd agree that everybody doesn't like the prospecting, not because of the fact that people are going to say, yeah, I love your product, come on in, let's get together. It's the rejection that sometimes is involved in that, right?
It's such a barrier. And once you have that rejection therapy or that inoculation to rejection, and you can go out, and that's what the 9 before 9 a.m. will start to do for you.
You advocate for mastering emotional intelligence in sales. What are some key emotional intelligence skills that professionals should develop to enhance their effectiveness?
I absolutely do. Deals are not won on logic alone. They're won through connection, composure, and conviction. So in the first domino, I talk about emotional maturity. Really important. This is a superpower. So you want to get your emotional regulation. So that means, how do you deal with rejection, firstly, and how do you deal with your own reactions, right? So understanding that objections are just information and data. And so the more curious you can get to the objection, you've actually got a live one there, right? Clients that are objecting are actually much closer to doing a deal with you than those that say yes straight away. You know, those clients that come in and there's no resistance there. Right. That's almost worse. So really understanding to be emotionally regulated, and especially in the face of rejection. In the book, I talk about it being like your startup or your small business is like your baby and someone's calling your baby ugly, right? And you've got to learn to be able to deal with that, right?
That's right.
Stop thinking about your ugly baby and what they said and
Right.
start focusing on being curious about them. So that's the first stage. Second, I'd say self-awareness, right? Recognize your triggers. That's it's really about not self-sabotaging in the moment. So if you get self-aware, you can start to slow down. You can start to understand that EQ is the link to getting you through to the next stage. And with that empathy and the curiosity building, you can probe deeper, you can understand and focus on value and service and totally detach from the outcome. I think that's when you elevate to a whole new area of sales effectiveness.
In an AI world, do you see an advantage of emotional intelligence over artificial intelligence?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is the moment for trust building, right? Trust building right now is your biggest competitive advantage. And Deloitte actually found that there was 4 elements of building trust. The first is humanity. Second was transparency. The third was reliability. And the fourth was capability.
Okay.
And I think with business, right, you've got reliability and capability pretty much down. Most people are going to do what they say they can do and develop good products. But transparency and humanity, meaning how much do you demonstrate empathy and kindness towards the client? That's something that's really within your control. And especially in this AI world, right? This isn't a world where AI can process data that faster than we can blink. Like it's all happening at a speed we've never seen before. So emotional intelligence remains the one thing that machines can't replicate. And that's the human edge.
Yep.
So in the first domino, I definitely remind readers that real leverage comes from how you make people feel,
Yeah.
not just what you make them think.
Yeah, for sure. Reflecting on your own journey, what was your first domino moment to set off a chain reaction of success in your career?
Great question. Basically, in different contexts, there's different dominoes. So with my podcast, The Tim Castle Show, it was landing that first big guest. I think Evan Carmichael was my number 3 guest. He has about 4.5 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
It was that first moment that then set everything else in motion, and that attracted more big guests. From there, we can get to 200 episodes, and now I can call pretty much anyone I want and get them on the show and have a brilliant conversation. But that's the first domino. It's the first book deal you do, or it's even just your first book that you sell.
Yeah.
It's a first domino. It's the first award you get in your sales career.
Sure.
It's the first leader I got to believe in me, the first domino, because it gave me conviction and courage. It's meeting my wife and my life partner. So these are all first domino moments in various contexts of one's life.
Right, right. There's so many salespeople out there, and obviously entrepreneurs have to be salespeople themselves to sell their ideas, to sell their concepts, to sell their products and services. Yeah, later on they may get a sales staff or a sales manager or what have you, but every entrepreneur starts off as really a salesperson, right? Selling, as I mentioned, their ideas and such. And this is something that scares the heck out of so many people out there. As you said, nobody likes to prospect, right? With that in mind, what do you want the reader of the book to leave with?
So Einstein said there was 5 levels of intelligence. There's smart, there's intelligent, brilliant, genius, and then simple. And this is meant to be a simple playbook that you can read on the weekend and implement on Monday. And it really is about that implementation.
Yeah.
I would love the reader to take action, because at the end of each chapter is a domino challenge that, if I promise you, if you put that challenge to action and you actually take action on it, it's the highest ROI thing that you can do. Because I'm a seasoned expert. I've been at the coalface for 16 years, knocking down barriers and getting through doors. So taking action and following the playbook.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, taking action. I mean, so many of us have got great ideas, and we even buy the books sometimes. And we don't know even, I think the numbers are astounding as the number of people that buy the book to the number of people that actually crack the book and read the entire book, right? There's not enough of us that actually read the book, let alone put some of these things into practice. But to your point, if they read the book, which I highly recommend, in fact, we're going to make a link right below the video that you're watching, folks, to get your own copy. It takes you right to Amazon to get your own copy of the First Domino, and I highly recommend that you get it. But read it and then put these things and these ideas into action. That's what separates the pros from the amateurs, right, Tim?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My motto is believe it is possible. And I just want people to pick that up and run with it.
Yeah. As I say, good ideas are one thing, but execution is where it's at, right?
100%.
For sure. So Tim Castle, the host of the wildly popular Tim Castle Show podcast, and of course, as I mentioned, the author of The First Domino, How to Land Your First Client in 90 Days or Under. I know a lot of you, I just got your attention with that again. So Tim, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Hopefully we can do a follow-up with you because I've got about 7 other questions here that time doesn't permit me to ask. So thanks so much for joining us.
Very, very grateful to be on. Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.